Good morning, guys. Good morning. Today's gamma report. I hope you read it. If you're attending pre-market, if you haven't, you might be a little bit lost, but you can obviously read it after. I'm just gonna lay out some plans on SPX today, the possibilities which are backed by data, and the options data matters a lot. Now, one thing, SPX or the gamma reports, they're not indicators. Also, just a little confusion there. Um, they're just data. It's just data how you put it to use. That's pretty much it. It's information, right? It's up to you how you figure the information out and what you think will happen, right? Like it's giving you a piece of information. You have to decide what to do, all right? And it lays out the both plans for you, bulls, bears. It's up to one how you want to interpret it on the daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and whatnot. Now, on SPX, so far the chart looks fine. We held this support level right here, if you guys can see it, right? If you guys can see, we held this 44.50 twice. Number one, so basically, the words that I'm going to use, they're my own also, but then because I am so deeply involved with studying gamma for the last few months, that I started thinking like them as well. And you know what? I'm actually happy because it's data, and I've been more accurate with my trades with that, so I'm gonna stick to it, right? Now, one thing here that you guys want to respect is this hold right here. Swaggy came on yesterday. He explained his zones, so I hope you guys learned some things from him when he came, right? And so first thing that you want to respect here is this 44.50 hold twice, which is good for bulls, is signaling strength. That's number one, all right? So I'm just going to lay out one plan for you guys. This is number one, strength, all right? The 44.50 hold, okay? A nice up move, like T said, and a little consolidation is healthy, right? Platinum stacks all the stresses on this, so I completely agree. It's absolutely healthy. Let's see what happens here. We're just here between the 50 and 200 MA. It's like a no man's land for now. So that's number one. And I put these clouds up also. I used to follow different averages, but LB mentioned. So LB, if you're listening, I got these clouds off of you. Thanks. Pretty good. Um, and okay, so let's just go over our numbers right now that you guys need to understand. During the intraday, by around 12, 1 o'clock, I would say midday, around 12:30, 1 o'clock, if SPX holds above 4,500, and then based on the positioning, if I see put closures going on around that time, if put closures continue after midday, right? If put, or maybe in the morning there might be put buying, I have no idea. But if we're trading above 4,500 around 12:30, 1 o'clock, right? 2 o'clock is also a very important level because we need to carry this move into Monday. All right. If we close completely red today, then Monday is likely going to follow red also in most cases. But if we close strong today, that builds a bull case scenario for next week buying some calls maybe. All right. And so SPX hold above 4,500 around 12:1 around that time. I don't know. We'll see how the market sets up. If the put closures are still going on, we likely hit 45.50 to end the day. Why? There will be decay in puts, more covering is going to happen, and then obviously VIX should go down. VIX should be down at that time. I'll see how the VIX trend is, right? This is gonna give us a little Vanna move into the end of the day, into end of day. Okay, that's possible, or maybe around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We'll see when it happens. But this is the number one scenario that you want to pay attention to. 4,500, if it's held around 12, 1 o'clock, put closures go on, there will be 45.50 that we likely get. Now, if we trade under 4,500, let's see what level it might be. Maybe 44.75, right? 44.75 is V trigger. Then Vanna is not confirmed, because if we trade under 4,500, then the negative gamma stays. There's a good possibility they might even sell this off towards 44.50 then. And then if 44.50 breaks, nothing until 4,400 and 4,300. All right, I'm not saying this is going to happen today, so I'm just giving you two scenarios which are likely going to happen. Be well positioned for it. But for now, 44.50 has been defended, right? Which is a bull case. They defended it twice with a strong bounce. So you cannot ignore this 44.50, right? Swaggy also mentioned this yesterday, right? So we do have some amazing traders in our group who mentioned this before the data comes out. So if I go on the 1 hour chart, you guys can see, right? They defended this level twice here, right? Which cannot be ignored with a sharp bounce, right? 44.50, as soon as it hit, no consolidation, nothing there. They completely took it right back up, right? Like there was no second thought. So if I go on the 5-minute chart, what you want to see here now is, right, as soon as we hit 4,500, a sharp bounce. 4,500 hit a sharp bounce. There was no flagging, no build up, no failures, nothing, right? So that's something to take into consideration. All right. And so that's one scenario that we have. And then I don't know how many of you guys read the Vanna Model schools and stuff, but there has been some put buying going on out of the money. That usually happens when they know that the market is going to take some downtrend in the coming days or coming weeks, right? You will not realize it, notice it, because they'll take them in such ways. So keep that in mind. So if 4450, if we're under 4500, bearish case remains. We hold above 4500 in the daytime, then there's a good possibility that we hit towards 4550. There's nothing until 4550 pretty much then. All right, all these resistance levels will be taken out as bull flags, and then we go towards 4550. All right, which also puts the weekly chart. So let's go on the weekly chart here for a bit, right? So which also puts the weekly chart. We opened this week at 45.47. We're gonna have a nice little indecisive candle just like last week. And usually when an indecisive candle happens, the following week is sometimes also an indecisive candle, right? Something like this right here, you guys can see, and then here as well. All right, and on the weekly, the MACD was gonna curl, but now it's opening up a little bit to the downside, which is not a good thing. And on the daily, I want to show you guys something also. These are just things, something to keep in mind. Now, I don't use MACD as an indicator, but I do look at it when there's a setup. This is pointing to a downside. This is bearish. This is actually not bullish. This is bearish. Each time MACD crosses down when it's above high, right, in a nice little bullish formation on SPX, we usually get some sort of consolidation or a downside move, right? Each time it's happened around these levels. That's exactly what's been happening lately. So this I don't want to ignore. Let's see how the next week shapes up. But on the gamma, just keep in mind what I explained, those two scenarios. So 4500 will be the biggest key level into the midday, and we see what happens. And in case if the market keeps selling off, we break 4450 by any chance, then obviously there's air to the downside. All right, then we see 4420, 4400 next likely. So that was a little bit of SPX for you guys. And IWM also looks great, but for now on the daily, 3 red days, we have a gap fill here towards 202.85. So if the market goes up, then it goes above 50 MA, then we can probably close around here, right? But on the weekly, it's still nothing great on IWM. That's one thing that I saw 2 days ago. On the weekly, picture is not pretty. This is not a pretty picture, even if it goes around here. This is basically building a nice little bear flag where it's trying to break out or break down now, right? And MACD is also crossing right below down, so don't ignore these facts. And if this bear flag plays out, which these are pretty accurate usually, then IWM goes much lower. However, we take out this 209 level, 209 plus hold, we see 217 whenever that happens. All right, now our title is Kroger. KR keeps going. This is one name that I kept mentioning almost for 2 weeks, regular in the group, right? And I explained what's going to happen here. I explained to you guys exactly what will happen on a daily chart, right? And not sure if anybody took advantage of this or not, right? When they start buying these up slowly, there's a huge squeeze that happens, right? Because all the buyers absorb all the sellers. Now there's only buyers left, and then these people who were trying to short it here, they also have to cover it, then the rally gets even bigger. Kroger is at 6140, around 6150 pre-market. They got some upgrades here, right? MACD is pretty bullish, and this thing, if it takes the high of this candle, which happens with 62.63, it can squeeze towards 65.70 bucks. Inflation is going to help this stock. This is a consumer defensive sector stock. It's a grocery store, and inflation is usually in their favor if you guys go read their company profile. All right, and so let's see how this one plays out, and Kroger can keep going towards 70 bucks, right? Because these stocks move after long times. When they move, then they move big, and then they consolidate for many months, right? That's how the breakout usually happens on these names. But these are very strong. I mean, I don't chase it here now. The move already happened. But if you're in, I would highly suggest take some profits and see what happens with it. But a great defensive stock, obviously, right? And then Apple. Just want to go over the weekly chart on Apple. Let me take off these clouds. So the weekly chart on Apple, pretty indecisive. A lot of selling pressure above here, right? I think what's going to end up happening here is if we do get some downturn, right, we might get this average up a little bit again for 50, a nice little uptrend, and then maybe on the coming weeks we might test this level again, and that's just going to build a very bullish case for Apple. And then the longer it does it, then we break out higher, because Apple actually is a stock. If you guys, I don't know how much of you guys research you guys do, it's just not Apple. Apple is considered a safe asset internationally now these days, right? There are people from Europe, people from countries where the issue is going on, they all dump their money into Apple. That's the first stock they put their money into, right? They got a lot of cash on their balance sheet. It's just an amazing company, right? So Apple is considered a safe asset. It's not even giving up. There's a fast bounce. It's trading near all-time highs. It's the biggest company in the world, holding up its gains. That's something big, right? So Apple on the weekly, let's see how it closes. If it closes to a downside, then we might even get towards this level back to 161, 167, which I still think happens, and then it goes up. If the market turns around, and we get those downside moves in the coming weeks and months, then this is the level where I personally want to go long Apple. Not here at the top. Here, I'd rather miss this trade in options, but this is the level where I personally prefer going long on Apple, right? Around 140. If I get that in a few months, if it happens, right? I mean, that's a big move down. I don't know, but we did get 150. But 140 is what I'm looking for. Here, if it goes up, then I'd rather miss it and then maybe catch a dip when it comes back to these levels again sometime. Amazon is completely stuck, completely stuck. Yes, congrats, $7 200, right? That's $700 to $10,000. Amazing move. Amazon just holding here between. There's nothing bullish about this chart. There's nothing bearish. It's just dead. It's a dead stock right now. But if the market gives up, this likely comes down again. Then if the market stays strong, if tech goes up and Amazon takes out the 50 MA and we hold above it, then obviously we have the split and we have earnings this month. Maybe before the split on tech, maybe before they run, the market might want to see the earnings on tech and their comments, right? So April could just be a sideways month, right? Usually April is strong, so let's see how the coming weeks set up. But we do have earnings and options will be expensive. Be careful what you play, right? It's very important that you're patient or put some strategies to work or play accordingly, right? Discipline and management will come a long way. Facebook, nobody believed at 384. If somebody told you that after a couple of months Facebook is going to be down 50%, you guys would have called that person stupid. You guys would have laughed at him maybe. But look where Facebook happened. So Apple, Amazon, the same thing is possible. It's happened. Apple has been gone down 50% in the past also when it was strong, but it's the same thing is possible again. These are the minds that you should stay open. Facebook getting rejected at the 200 MA on the weekly, kind of a bear flaggish pattern. If this comes down again, they might retest 180, 187 one more time. All right. Another thing here is the $600 billion market cap issue. So you guys can look into that. LBNT explained it yesterday, I think. Twitter, nice little gains. It tried to hold the gains, but then it does what it does, right? Give up the gains eventually. It tried holding for 2 days, but Buddy wings got a little weaker. So let's see if it can make a little bull flag here for the coming days. Let's see if these levels can be held, if this zone can be held for some days, right? And let's see what happens on the earnings. We have earnings this month. If this can be held, and then we can base above the 200 MA. But for this to happen, the market has to be strong. If the market is not strong, then not gonna get much unless Elon says something or sparks something, a rally when people just hit the buy button because of Elon, right? So they do have a conference that they're setting up, Elon Musk. Let's see what they announce. Maybe some sort of a partnership with something. I have no idea. CrowdStrike. They have a U.S. Department of Defense. They got a contract, an authorization or something with them, and it's up nice pre-market. So this is something you want to keep an eye on. If it can get above the 200 MA and we can base above it, then this stock can also run, right? These stocks are in demand right now, but again, price action is the truth. So as long as we hold above this 200 MA, we get above it, we base above it, we can have a target of 270, 280 on this name. All right. With that, guys, I'm gonna end it. Watch the SPX one more time, right? And we do need a NQ strong trade. If NQ is not strong due to certain things, even LB also mentioned, so he's watching the same thing, right? The bonds, then market may have trouble. But again, midday around, then we see what happens. If SPX holds above 4,500, bull case remains. Put decay, time decay, that's gonna spark a rally, and then we go on from there. And if you don't understand the terminology I'm using, it's very weird, basic, but I understand. If you haven't don't use it, start learning these things. It's gonna help you with your trading. I'm gonna be very patient today. Let's see what happens. Another thing I do want to give you guys a tip on SPX yesterday. I took one play. It was on voice chat. I'm just gonna explain something to you guys. I took my entry right here. I took my entry roughly at this level, 45.10. All right, 45.10 for a put play. My entry was right here. I'm just gonna explain something to you guys, my psychology when I do trades, right? I took my puts right here, okay? And but SPX went through the 0 gamma level. It kept going up. it came right here near the top, but I was very patient with my trade. Now I'm not looking for profits. I was pretty confident that, you know what, if it ripped through, very rare case that's just gonna spike up. Very rare case, because we had a big spike already for 60 handles. Then I said, you know what, that's fine. My play did not work out, but I'm gonna walk out break even on this play. So as soon as I got the retest of this breakout, right? So as soon as I got the retest, I took my break even. I'm out of the trade. All right, and then later on, obviously, it started going up, but then obviously it went in profits after. But I don't know if this was gonna happen or not, right? Instead of holding it on hopes, I just worked my plan that I'm gonna buy it here. If the resistance gets rejected, it's likely gonna come retest this 44.90, which would have been great profits. But if that trade goes against me, right, that's fine. It's likely gonna rip through once and then come retest to at least give me my break even exit. All right, so that's one of the biggest tips I can give you when you're scalping SPY. Instead of me catching it here in between, I wait for very strong resistance levels, because it's very likely that SPX will come and retest that breakout once to give you a chance to break even in case the strength is real. It keeps going. All right, God bless.